Okay. So we've all played Skyrim, right? We've all played the wonderful world of Scrim, the wonderful world of Scrim, the wonderful world with boys and girls, the wonderful world of Scrim. Oblivion didn't have boys or girls in it, so that's why that verse is there. What do you do in Scrim? What if you could sum up 70 to 80% of the gameplay? How would you describe it? You're killing. You're just killing people. You're just fucking killing people, regardless of what class you are, what race you are. You're typically just killing people, and it's to the point where it's inescapable. It's okay. It's kind of nice when you fight the Draugr, those filthy traitors that sided with the dragons. Kind of cool when you fight them, but I mean, even then, like they're a pretty cool culture. They're like the only ones that actually wear the Nord looking shit or the Skyrim looking shit. There's no way to get through that game. Okay, there's this game called Dishonored, and you can technically get through the entire game without killing anyone, but it's so convoluted and difficult to do. It kind of just takes the game. The pacifist playthrough just is not nearly as workable as just being a sociopath. Okay. In World War II, there's this study done, and only 25% of American soldiers, mind you, these are American soldiers, they weren't, super hard pressed as what was going on in the Eastern Front, and, they hadn't been completely blown to smithereens like the French or the British. Only 25% of them actually fired their weapons toward the enemy army when they were able to do it. And of that 100%, that total, only 1% of those people were willing to actually kill. Only 1% were actually willing to kill, okay? Do you know why? Do you know why that is? It's the same reason that fighter pilots, 1%, have 50% of all the kills. The aces in World War II had 50% of all the kills. Why? Because 1 in 100 people are sociopaths. 1 in 100 people are crazy, and they will kill you. They can look you in the eyes and kill you, okay? Himmler, people give Hitler a bad rap. Mainly, I would say it's mainly because he was an enabler, all right? Nobody could tell him no, but he couldn't tell no to his worst followers. And his worst follower was Himmler, okay? Himmler was in charge of the removal of a certain people, okay? And so when he saw the executions, because they were just shooting, the Wehrmacht troopers were just shooting these people in the face, okay? When he saw this happening, he gagged. Like, he's the guy that ordered this, all right? He's the guy that gave the order. But when he saw it, he gagged, and he realized that the Wehrmacht troopers would be scarred for life by doing this. And so he devised a way that they wouldn't have to shoot these people in the face. But, I mean, it's the reason why, there's plenty of snipers out there, right? There's plenty of marksmen, okay, that can hit a target, all right? But to actually look at someone's face through a scope and be able to kill them, it's 1 in 100 people. 1 in 100 people can do that, okay? To actually look at someone defenseless, because they are defenseless when you're shooting them. They have no idea where the shot's coming from, and pull the trigger. That's why the snipers are so famous all the time. And that's why when the USSR purports that all these people were killed, all these Wehrmacht troopers, I'm just like, I don't know. Because it's not a glorious task, okay? So part of the reason I have trouble with, certain alignments in D&D is because they can use their alignment to just justify killing. And, so getting back to the Skyrim experience, right? What's the thing that most people do in most RPGs most of the time? They're killing, right? They're just running up killing. So we're programmed to kill. Okay, we've done it. I've done it at least thousands of times, maybe tens of thousands of times. Probably thousands of times. So, when the player looks at an NPC, there's an expiration date over that NPC's head, all right? Could be 5 seconds, could be 50 seconds, could be 5 minutes, could be 50 minutes. 50 minutes isn't bad. That's actually a pretty long time for an NPC not to be fucked up. And the reason, I got the believability part of it. It's just not super believable to go out there and kill. And and then this brings up the argument like, well, is this race a person? Because it's not universally a multicultural society that they have. Oh gosh, I said the S word. D&D is not a multicultural like collection of people. I mean, if you're a barbarian, chances are you've been hunting or hunted by another race at a time. So this idea that they're just going to be congruent down the board and just like be into it. So I mean that could be used as justification to kill, sure. But here's the reason why. As a DM, I'm just begging you, okay? Let's say there's a dungeon and 2 bugbears are guarding treasure, okay? What do the bugbears eat? What are they eating? How are they alive? How are they in there? So you have a question here to make this kind of just a standalone, isolated thing that's just like completely self-sufficient and needs no logistical lines, or you make logistical lines. All right. Not only is there a guy that goes in there and feeds the bugbears, but there's a guy that feeds the guy that feeds the bugbears. Okay, and so it gives it a very grounded, living, breathing feel to the game. All right. The reason Scrim and I think even Oblivion were so huge is the NPCs. Every one of them actually has a routine. They go and do things, and when it's nighttime, they go Betty by. Okay, but they have things that they do. They're not just standing there like in KOTOR, just like, I'm the vendor. I vend wares. That's all I do. I don't even breathe. So you've got the isolated stance, and then you've got kind of the worldly stance. But the only problem with the worldly stance, right, is if the characters are just going and killing just willy-nilly, there's a chance they'll end up killing the guy that feeds the bugbears. Sorry, or they'll even kill the guy that feeds the guy that feeds the bugbears, okay? And so this brings up kind of this logistical nightmare where it's like, okay, am I even going to make a living, breathing world, or am I just going to make something that's like super hardened? Because there's a point where everything just ends up falling apart, and that's fun in a way, but it's there's other things to do. There's absolutely other things to do besides killing people, and I'm basing this off an incident that happened, but all the killing in that incident was justified. And once more, I was the one that instigated it. So I'm not without fault. I guess this whole thing is just kind of a guilt trip for me. I'm just trying to get this off my chest. There's a lot of huge moral questions behind what happened. And at the end of the day, I was ultimately culpable. But okay, here's the thing, right? What do you do with raiders? What do you do with raiders? You see a raider, right? What do? You kill them, right? Like that for me is clear cut. Like a raider, okay, they don't believe in any of the cultural laws. They can't coexist with anyone. So kill them. What happens if you start going out and killing raiders or anyone you suspect of being a raider, or anyone that you don't completely agree with? You become a raider. Okay, instead of being noble, instead of having this alignment here or there, you just become a filthy cutthroat that I don't know. People should just be wary of it, and I think a good DM will not allow it to go unchecked. There's a lot of moral implications, and so what I'm going to do in the future as a player is not instigate anything, or at least try to keep the NPCs safe, because, well, once again, we got the believability factor of it. 100 people is actually a sociopath, and we've got just the sheer chaotic nature of it. I mean, if you're chaotic, everything I said, just do the opposite of it, and you'll be great. It's just that there's so many more possibilities with D&D than just killing, than just killing. And we ran into another guy who was, I would technically classify him as a raider, or just absolutely opposed the party to the point where there would have been no reconciliation. And we did something really good with him. And the first guy that got killed, we did actually something really good for him that really brought the party together. I'm just lamenting here that the first time, it's a bad omen. The first time, if the first NPC you see, you kill, it's You're a raider.